Hey, hey, Pussy Collective and beyond. It's time for MoonDay Musings. I'm Sierra Sullivan, and I am super excited to share more of my Oracle wisdom with you today. As many of you have been following along potentially, you've been hearing a lot about awakening your sacred waters and the power of Amrita, female ejaculations. I've been on and on and on about that because it's a potent topic and because I literally have a class starting tomorrow. Thanks for the hearts, Joni. Hey, Rebecca. So I literally have a class starting tomorrow. So if you're on the fence and thinking about joining, please do that today so you can get all the details I'm about to send out. Class starts at noon tomorrow, Pacific time. So I'm going to give a break to that topic, and I'm actually going to move into one of my other favorite topics, which is the power of manifestation. And I want to share with you a powerful thing that so if you've seen any of the previous videos I posted, I think when I was away at the Hawaii Vipassana, I posted 2 previous videos I had done a year ago talking about new money manifestations and how I manifested the house that I currently live in. And so I wanted to just follow up on that because in the overarching theme of what I like to call pussy money magic and all of my favorite topics, which is manifestation, Amrita, and how to reclaim and love the divinity of our sacred portals, and of course an overarching women's empowerment theme for most of my adult life, those 3 things go together really well and have been shown to me to be a very potent combination to create what it is that we want the most, that we desire the most rather. So I'm going to share a little story with you about how I manifested the house I'm currently in and how that helped me manifest the next thing that I'm moving toward. A while back, maybe like four years ago or so, give or take, I had hit a dip in my finances. And I just couldn't figure out what was next for me. I had was really tired of creating money the way I had been creating money, and was realizing and coming into terms. I started watching movies like Zeitgeist and other documentaries that pointed to some of the deep flaws. I think I started reading The Creature from Jekyll Island, talking about our flawed money system and how really we're in such a slave labor system, right? None of us are free in the system that's currently operating in this world. And I was having a real hard time reconciling being in that system and making the money in the system, and then visions that I've been having and knowings that I've been having around how to actually create a new kind of wealth. And one of my dear friends and shaman that I worked with for a period of time had once told me a couple of years prior that there is new money coming onto this planet, but you need to have, and it's not touched by any of the funkiness of the current constructs and some of the dark shadow side of what these systems, not the money itself, but the systems have created in our world. And she said, but you need to have the new ATM card. And I started thinking a lot about that. And again, the videos I posted a couple weeks ago talk more about this. But one of the things I realized is that, okay, I was at odds with money creation, essentially. And until I got straight with that, I would have a hard time manifesting what it is that I desired in the form of material wealth of many sorts. And so I was looking deeply about how could I have both, right? How could I still be able to create the money that I need to live the lifestyle that I desired, I was used to, and also not be part of the slave system that I basically never really bought into. I grew up, I mean, I was born into this world going, what the hell are you all doing? This makes no sense. And then I was indoctrinated, like all of us. And then over the past several years, I've been pulling myself out and creating new forms of flow in my life. So in my exploration, I discovered that part of the reason that I wasn't able to attract money in an easily and effortless way, meaning without having to do a whole bunch of stuff to try to get it, working really, really, really hard and, being an entrepreneur and busting my butt. And I realized that, yeah, there's some incongruency with the more promoted version of what a wealthy lifestyle looks like. Saks Fifth Avenue and certain, lifestyle choices and plastic surgery and just, you know, if you think of wealthy people, a lot of the images that come up, because we've been shown them on billboards and in movies and television shows and all over the place. So I didn't actually have my own definition of what it would be if I had all the money in the world. I'd never even thought to create that. In all the ways that I've taken money courses and talked about, you know, how would I be in right relationship with money, I'd never even thought that my definition would be different than what I was seeing until I realized that. So what I ended up doing was thinking, my friend asked me, okay, so what would your life look like if you had all the money in the world? And when I really thought about it, I was like, okay, what's my version of that? My answer was, well, I would have multiple properties, large homes where anybody could come and experience, anybody but, you know, my friends and dear ones and tribe could come and actually be taken care of and be in events and have fun and be playful and have freedom and yummy life. And I would be able to just support them enjoying these beautiful properties. And I would just be in my flow. I would just float about. I would come in, teach a course or host a party or some sort of really meaningful parties with a purpose, as I like to call them. And I'd be able to be generous because I'd have multiple places for them to stay and homes all over the place and so on and so forth. That really lit me up. That made me think, oh my gosh, now that's a good use of a lot of money. Right? I love gathering people. I love enlightening people. I love awakening people. I love creating deep, rich, juicy, meaningful, playful experiences for people. So I thought, okay, I can get behind that. So I felt into that and it felt really good. And I just was like, okay, now I have some freedom. And literally within a couple of months, I found myself, I had literally walked into that desire and dream and didn't even know it until I realized at the time. A couple months later, I rented a house in the Valley, or in California rather, and just temporarily to host an event, to host 2 different events actually. And by the time the second event came, it was like a weekend event and then a Monday night, or Sunday night or something like that. And I remember the feeling on the next morning after those 2 events were complete, and there was an integration happening with a group of people from the second event. And I remember looking around and realizing it would hit me. I was like, oh, this is my vision of wealth for myself. Like, it was this gorgeous, sprawling home. We had just held 2 very sacred, profound live gatherings, a retreat and then an overnight. And I was in this flowy dress, and I was, you know, even though the house wasn't mine, it was the feeling, because I had the one who created, rented the house and created these experiences, and it felt like my home for those 4 days that we had rented it. And I thought, oh my gosh, it happened like that. I mean, literally, like within 2 months, I was in flow mode. And so I thought, well, okay, well, if that's true, then what's next? What if I actually rented a house that was my house to do these events in, and that had all this luxurious environment? And lo and behold, the very next event that we hosted at the same rental house, more community started to form, and a conversation started to form about how to come together as a community and maybe rent a larger property where we could host these events. And by March, so that was September, and then December was the next event, and by March of the following year, we were moving into the house that I'm in now. It's what it's called the Chalice Palace. It's a 5,000 square foot mansion, pool, hot tub, waterfall, temple space to host events in, 5-bedroom house, and it was with a bunch of beloveds. And I thought, wow, that was easy, right? And I didn't even have to use all my own resources. I got to leverage some of my resources and everyone else's resources to come together to have this shared resource, which is another big thing that I believe is part of the new currency of today. It's a resource-based economy where we do share more resources, and we're not all on the hook to have to spend what we have to have what we desire, right? We can co-create it. So here I am in this house. And then I remember thinking maybe a year, maybe not even that much into living here. I remember floating around in the pool outside and kind of looking around at this house and appreciating this house, but realizing, okay, this house really isn't doing it for me. I mean, it's lovely, and I loved being in the community house, but there's no extra bedrooms for guests. I have to, abide by a lot of other people's, the agreements we have, whether to have friends and not friends, even though we do have events here and it was agreed upon. And there was just a lot going on. And even though it's a beautiful house, there's a lot that needed to be repaired. It was a bit run down. It needed some, it needed some TLC, which we've helped the landlord with, and it was really, symbiotic relationship. But I remember sitting there looking at the house and going, all right, this was a great next step, an awesome next step. And what's next? Like, if I can manifest this, I can manifest the next thing. And I thought, well, what is that next thing? And I thought, well, wouldn't it be amazing if it was a bigger house, or maybe even a retreat center, or a place where I could host more people without having it interfere with any of the occupants and still have the life? And wouldn't it actually be great if I didn't have to pay for it? Well, sisters, I'm happy to say that I followed my 4 L's of effortless feminine manifestation, which many of you may have seen. If not, I'll post the link below and you can check out the free course that I offer on this. And so I lingered in that desire. I leaned way back. I listened and became aware of where there were signs and breadcrumbs pointing to it. And when the time came, which I didn't really have to leap really into action, I just had to say yes. In the last 2 months, I got word from dear friends of mine who were co-creating a lot of different things with, that they had met an angel investor who was going to be buying this resort property down in Baja, Mexico, that has plenty of extra bedrooms, like 20 3-bedroom casitas, a whole hotel, 100-spot RV park. I mean, you name it. It's like, a massive property on the beach in Baja. And these friends of mine, the guy who invested in this wanted just a few of the casitas and the hotel to do something that he's doing, but the rest of the resort would be ours, and he would pay for it all and let us play on the resort and figure out how we wanted to run the resort, and then actually, eventually in 2 years, if we wanted to stay there, we would have to have it monetized, but we have up to 2 years to figure out how to monetize it. And I thought, oh my God, I can't even believe this. I can believe it because it's happening, and that's what's next. So now, my next move out of this house, I'll be moving out of here at the end of the month. I'll be taking a break and going back to my hometown of Oswego, New York area in the summer, which Rano and I do. And then when we get back, we're going to be heading down to Baja, Mexico to get this resort up and running. It's going to be totally renovated, all on the dime of this amazing, amazing human being who sees the potential, and my dear friends want to partner with us to create this. So the moral of the story, ladies, the piece that I want you to take away is you can have anything you desire. However, if you're stuck in a paradigm of thinking that you need to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way, work a certain job, or all the limited things that society tends to put on us and have us and just fill our minds with, I invite you to hit the erase button or clear out your cache, delete some files, and recreate your dream and your vision beyond just a vision board. Vision boards are awesome and they're super helpful, but most of the time we don't really work with the vision in the sense of the feeling and the really knowing. We kind of slap up with images, and oftentimes even those images are still images based in somebody else's dream that we've been indoctrinated in watching. So I invite you to think about the question, if you had all the, I didn't say money, but all the resources in the world, truly, what would your life look like? Truly, who would you be? Truly, what would it feel like? And when you find a vision that aligns for you, give it some energy, give it some juice, give it some juju. Feel it, feel everything, feel all of it. Feel the possibility. And if you notice any doubt coming in, you might need to rework something, or you might need to do some belief exercises and clearing and whatnot. But if you can get behind, like, yeah, that's my vision of wealth, like I did. I was like, oh yeah, that feels so much better than, fancy shoes and a fancy purse on Rodeo Drive. I was like, that's so not me. It's so not me. And then I believed it and I felt it and it started to manifest, and it continues to manifest. And there's a lot more I can say about this topic. A lot of it has to do with how much more connected over these past few years that I've been with my sacred divinity and my sacred portal, and how much that I've been trusting in her more than ever, and the service work that I offer, my ministry, helping other women do the same, and actually looking into the pussy portal and seeing visions of this new world, and knowing that we're in for a really awesome ride, and we can transmute any of the bullshit that we're currently in by shifting who we be from the inside out in this world. And I just wanted to share that with you. I wanted to offer a possibility of you activating your new wealth currency codes and creating the life that you desire. And so getting clear on it, and then also, you know, being pussified, like really allowing yourself to be in the juiciness of that vision and not doing so much and not even actually making any plans to do anything toward it. Just being in juicy time with it. I'd love to hear how it works for you. I'd love to see what you manifest. And again, there's a free course. I'll post the link below. Totally is a proven awesome formula that has helped me manifest so much. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. And I could share so many more stories, and I probably will. But now I've yabber jabbed for almost 16 or 17 minutes. And I'll let you all go. So thanks for tuning in to MoonDay Musings. I'm excited to see many of you in the class tomorrow. Again, I'll post the link to that below too. If you're curious, then today's the last day to register. And if you want to learn more about unlocking your sacred waters and letting it flow, and it's all tied in all of this, then join me. And I hope you'll stick around, and I hope you'll join me next Monday for another MoonDay Musings, 3:33 p.m. Pacific, every week, right here in the Pussy Collective. Thanks so much for tuning in. Lots of love to you, ladies. Thanks for being here. Mwah. Ciao.